In 9th grade, we read Romeo and Juliet. And while most kids were never really interested, I enjoyed it. I thought it was such an important piece to read. Fast forward years later, I decided to reread the play again, and I would say this was about a year ago, and I liked it even more. And you can't really escape it. Just this year alone, we've seen so many professional productions adapting this show. One of which, if you haven't seen this yet, and you have the opportunity to, please do. And I may or may not be saving up money to watch it again. So, I thought while these two star-crossed lovers are infesting my mind for almost 2 years now, I would take matters into my own hands and make my own Romeo and Juliet adaptation. So this is a synopsis of Romeo and Juliet, but with Littlest Pet Shops. Hey, if you think this is silly, say that to Romeo and Juliet sealed with a kiss. I'm not going to be acting out the entire play, I don't have it in me to do so. However, I will be showcasing some scenes with these little guys. I hope you enjoy. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-mark loved, and the continuance of their parents' rage, which, but their children's end not could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, the which, if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. In fair Verona, we start out with Samson and Gregory, and they're on the street. It is a hot summer's day, so you can imagine the people are already moody. And while Samson and Gregory are talking with each other, guess who decide to show up? Yeah, the Montagues.
Do you bite your paw at us, sir? No, sir, I do not bite my paw at you, sir, but I bite my paw at you, sir. No better. Well, sir.
Enter Benvolio, and he does not want to fight. But then enter Tybalt. He decides to draw his sword. Tybalt slanders the Montague's name. A giant fight breaks out. Now everyone is like cat-fighting with each other. Increases to such a large scale that the prince decides to show up.
If ever you disturb our streets again, your life shall pay the forfeit of the peace.
Meanwhile, we meet our first star-crossed lover, Romeo, and he's pondering on his crush on Rosaline. On to scene 2. Capulet wants to marry Juliet off to Paris, and we are noted of Juliet's age. She is 13 years old!
She hath not seen the change of 14 years. Let 2 more summers wither in their pride, ere we may think a ripe to be a bride.
They decide to host a party, and Romeo and Benvolio find out, and while it's under the name of their nemesis' house, they think, why not? Back at the Capulet household, and we meet Lady Capulet and the nurse.
Nurse, where is my daughter? Call her forth to me.
Juliet! Enter Juliet, our other young lover. How now? Who calls? Lady Capulet tells Juliet that within a fortnight she will be wed, and if you are wondering how long a fortnight is, it's around 2 weeks. Juliet is understandably so, instilled with a bit of resentment, but she agrees anyway, since that is her parents' orders.
Briefly, can you like of Paris's love? I'll look to like if looking liking move, but no more deep I will endart mine eye than your consent gives me strength to make it fly.
Party at the Capulets! Woo! So right before we see Romeo, Benvolio, and Mercutio sneak into the party. So the boys sneak in, and the party is a blast. Music is playing, everyone is dancing, and then they finally meet.
Or I never saw true beauty until this night.
Now, the Montagues are not that sneaky. Mr. Capulet and Tybalt found the three of them amongst the crowd. Capulet is like, well, I don't want to disturb the peace that's going on right now. And that doesn't really matter because we cut back to Romeo and Juliet.
Dear saints, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou let's face turn to despair.
Nurse finds Juliet.
Madam, your mother craves a word with you.
Juliet is like, bye, and Romeo's like, wait, where are you going? And the nurse tells Romeo that her mother is the head of the household. And he puts two and two together and realizes that she is a Capulet. Then she tells Juliet that she shouldn't be around that boy because guess what? He's a Montague, her family's great enemy.
My only love sprung from my only hate. Too early seen unknown and known too late. Prestigious birth of love it is to me. I must loved a loathed enemy.
This is the start of a huge unraveling of events. It's after the Capulet party and Romeo is in love, head over heels. Hey guys, guess what time it is? It's the balcony scene. Romeo is still thinking about Juliet. He finds her on her balcony and he's watching from a distance.
She speaks, yet says nothing. What of that? Her eyes discourses, I will answer it.
Juliet is still thinking about her interaction with Romeo, and she's still in disbelief that a person that she could love is a Montague.
Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or, if thou wilt not, but be sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Clarification, wherefore art thou means she's asking, why is Romeo a Montague? He hears Juliet speaking and talking, and he runs up to the balcony to get her attention.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied? What satisfaction canst thou have tonight? The exchange of thy love's faithful thou for mine.
One last time, she wishes Romeo a good night. By tomorrow, they will be wed. Enter Friar Lawrence. He notices that Romeo's a bit more cheery and asks him, what's up?
I'll tell thee as we pass, but this I pray, that thou consent to marry us today?
Today? A wedding it is. Enter the nurse. She would like to have a word with Romeo.
Bid her devise some means to come to shrift this afternoon, and there she shall at Friar Lawrence cell be shrivered and married. Here is for thy pains. Ho! No, truly, sir, not a penny. Go to, I say you shall. This afternoon, sir? Well, she shall be there.
Juliet is worried and she's waiting for the nurse's return, and she delivers a message from Romeo. So by scene 6, Romeo and Juliet are now husband and wife. They are engaged. They are married. They do all of this in one day. Still a very hot day in Verona. Mercutio and Benvolio walking in the street. And again, guess who decides to show up? So, Romeo sees this fight and he steps in. He would rather resolve everything than to give in because it's like, oh, you know, everyone's dueling each other and like, I don't want to get risked being... And also, this is now my wife's family. Mercutio and Tybalt like fight each other, and then Mercutio is stabbed by Tybalt.
I am hurt. A plague on both your houses.
This outrages Romeo, and he ends up fighting Tybalt, and Tybalt ends up dying. The prince walks in on this.
Let Romeo hence in haste, else, when he is found, that hour his last. Bear hence this body, or attend our will. Mercy but murderers pardoning those that kill.
Romeo is now banished. He is not allowed to step foot in Verona, or else he will be executed. The nurse breaks the news to Juliet that her husband killed Tybalt. And not only that, but Romeo is now banished. So all in one, she has to process the fact that her cousin is dead, and it's because of Romeo. In scene 3, Friar Lawrence gets the news from Romeo that he is banished. Romeo would rather die than be caught, and then the friar tells him that he shouldn't jump to conclusions right away. He suggests that he goes to Mantua in the meantime while they figure things out. Paris asks about Juliet, and he says that they will marry each other soon, he as in Juliet's father. And Paris is like, whoa, it's only been a couple of days, but I guess if we're going really fast, then that makes sense. Romeo and Juliet are reunited with each other in secret. They decide to go to capital F Freak Town. Storms off as he is still not allowed in Verona. Juliet's parents break the news to her that by Thursday she will be married off to Paris, and she is not pleased with this.
Good father, I beseech you on my knees, hear me with patience but to speak a word.
He says to her that if she does not marry Paris, Juliet will be disowned by her family.
For, by my soul, I'll never acknowledge thee, nor what is mine shall never do thee good. Trust, to it bethink you, I'll not be forsworn.
She turns to the nurse and hopes that maybe there would be at least one person who could hear her out, but the nurse decides to side with her parents and decides that marrying Paris is the best decision for her. Okay, this is where
shit hath hitteth the fan.
I mean, maybe I already did in Act 3, but trust me, Act 4 is much more interesting.
Are you sure the wedding is this Thursday?
Well, I can't really go against her father's word. Everyone in Fair Verona are weirdos. Juliet begs Friar Lawrence to figure out some sort of solution, but there's not really much he can do. It's not like he has that much power over her father, but he does figure out a way for Juliet to escape.
Take thou this vial, being then in bed, and this distilling liquor drink thou off, when presently through all thy veins shall run a cold and drowsy humor, for no pulse shall keep this native progress but surcease, no warmth, no breath shall testify thou livest. In the meantime, against thou shalt awake, shall Romeo by my letters know our drift, and that very night Romeo shall bear thee hence to Mantua, and this shall free thee from this present shame, if no inconstant toy nor womanish fear abide by it by valor and acting in it. Oh, give me, oh, tell me not of fear. Hold, get you gone, be strong and prosperous. In this resolved, I'll send a friar with speed to Mantua with my letters to thy lord. Love, give me strength, and strength shall help afford. Farewell, dear father.
Juliet goes along with Friar Lawrence's plan and lets her father know that she wants to move the wedding up to the next day, and she is delighted to marry Paris. Little do they know. It is time for Juliet to take the vial. If it doesn't work out, maybe she'll figure out another way, or maybe she doesn't take the vial at all.
Romeo, 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 here's a drink. I drink to thee.
Now she's eepy. Oh, the nurse finds Juliet for her wedding, only to find her unconscious in her bed. Now her entire family is in shock because Juliet is dead on her wedding day. Meanwhile, Mantua.
How doth my lady? Then she is well, and nothing can be ill. Her body sleeps in Capel's monument, and her immortal part where the angel lives. I saw her laid low in her kindred vault, and presently took post to tell it to you. Pardon me for bringing these ill news, since you did leave it from my office, sir.
He is heartbroken and decides to find an apothecary and bribes him to give him a vial of poison. Now, Romeo's fate is sealed. Friar John tells Friar Lawrence that he was not able to send his letter that he was supposed to get to Romeo about Juliet's fake death, and Friar Lawrence is peeing his pants because he's like, I have to get to Juliet before she wakes up. Ah! Here comes Paris. Romeo is here. Balthazar returned him back to Verona safely. Paris is peeved because Romeo is there and he's not supposed to be there.
I do defy thy combination, and apprehend thee for a felon here. Wilt thou provoke me? Then have thee, boy!
They fight. Paris dies.
Thank God.
And then Romeo sees Juliet's grave.
Here's to my love. Thus with a kiss, I die.
Friar Lawrence is able to make it somewhat in time. Not really, because Romeo is dead already. Juliet asks, where is Romeo? It's like, now's not the time because they're gonna find you. Maybe you should join a sisterhood of nuns. Then Juliet sees Romeo. Beside him is the poison that he took.
Poison? Oh, thy lips are warm.
Juliet is startled, and then she sees the dagger.
Oh, happy dagger, this is thy sheath, their rust, and let me die. Oh!
Both the Capulets and the Montagues see what has happened with Romeo and Juliet and realize that both of their kids are dead.
See what a scourge is laid upon your hate, that heaven finds means to kill your joys with love, and I, for winking at your discords too, have lost a brace of kinsmen. All are punished!
Both of the families decide to create a statue of each of their children to memorialize their deaths, and the prince closes off the play.
Some shall be pardoned, and some punished. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
Thank you all for watching this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I know it's quite silly. I don't know why I decided to make something like this. I think I'm just bored with life, and I also really like Romeo and Juliet and Littlest Pet Shops. So why not combine the two? But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you sometime soon.